Hi, I'm Dr. Jerry Lewis, and I'd like to take a few minutes to talk to you about managing change in the work organization. Considering all that's going on in the world around us, as well as our local, regional, and national economy, both public and private work organizations are required to make significant changes as to how they conduct their businesses. Now, here's the rub. Experts in research in the field of change management indicate that between 70 to 80% of change management projects fail for a multitude of reasons. Number one, the change projects are not often well planned out and well thought out. Number two, the reason for the change and the vision of what the organization is going to look like after the change is not well communicated and articulated. And number three, the normal and natural resistance to change is not expected and not planned for. One of the things that we know about human beings is that we do not like to change. So that should be a very important part of any change management project. Now, John Kotter, who's at the Harvard Business School, who's considered a guru and an expert in the field of change management, has the following suggestions to make. Number one, there must be a sense of urgency. It can't be that someone from outside just comes in and decides that he or she wants to make a change willy-nilly for no real significant reason. There must be a sense of urgency, there must be a compelling reason, there must be a critical reason why this change is necessary, and that must get communicated to the workers. And what must also get communicated to the workers is what will happen to the work organization if this change does not go through and if it's not successful. And the vision of what the organization is going to look like when the change is complete. That's number one. Number two, there should be a guiding coalition. That's his terminology for the group of people who are going to be responsible for planning, implementing, and following through on the change project. And on that team you want to have several characters. Number one, you want to have someone who's got formal power. Someone who can make decisions, allocate resources, and get things done. Number two, you need an expert. So for example, if you're going to be making a change in, say, IT, you want to have someone who's an expert in IT on your team. If you're going to be making a change in security, likewise, you need to have someone in security. If there's going to be a change in personnel or benefits or policies, someone from HR needs to be on that team, and perhaps someone from legal. Number four, you need to have a credible resource, someone that the people look up to, someone who might have informal power or positional power and political power. So, for example, if you have a union in your work organization, you might want to have someone who's high up in the union organization be a member of that team. So all of these people working together will plan and implement. He also talks about short-term wins. Change is sacrifice. Change is hard. Change causes anxiety. So there needs to be short-term wins, short-term reinforcement along the way so that workers feel like, oh, okay, we're getting some reward here. We're getting some benefit to the efforts that we're making to implement this new change, which goes along with the next issue. There's a requirement for a constant feedback loop between the people who are affected by the change and the people who are implementing the change, so that they feel like they have some input, that they're being heard, they're being acknowledged, and they get some say as to how the change evolves, that it's almost organic in the way that it's going forward, that it's not just change bump, 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 bump from the top down. That's what generates further resistance. Yet when you get people who at least can give input, even if it's not agreed upon and incorporated into the change, at least it's been heard and they feel like, okay, we had some say in it, even if there's not if it's not implemented. If it's not being implemented, they must receive some feedback as to why. And finally, patience and perseverance. Change is not easy, whether it be the government, whether it be a work organization, whether it be our families. Change requires patience and perseverance. And if you're interested in reading a book, an easy book by John Kotter, he's taken a lot of his fairly sophisticated concepts and put it into this book, Our Iceberg is Melting. It takes about a half hour, maybe 45 minutes to read. And in it, you get the story. It's almost like a fable. It's a make-believe story about penguins on an iceberg, and their iceberg is melting, and some of the changes that they need to make. Thank you for your time and your attention.